Fear Not, Episode 36. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today, you and I are going to be joined by Joe Pardo. Welcome, Joe. How are you today?
Hey, Billy, I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. You ready to fear not today?
I'm ready to kick fear in the teeth.
Okay, great. Helping others to achieve their dreams has always been Joe Pardo's goal in life. 280 episodes of the Dreamers podcast, 2 books, and countless memories later, he has finally realized his dream of helping others to achieve theirs. Joe started Dreamers podcast in 2014 after leaving his family's $100 million business, and he hasn't looked back. In addition to his podcasts and books, Joe has helped middle schoolers how to dream by providing them with tools and training to produce podcasts of their very own. He also consults with business owners on how to better utilize their resources, both technological and human. Joe resides in Clarksboro, New Jersey with his wife and their newly born daughter, Ava Grace, in his childhood home, and he confesses he loves it. It provides enough space between him and his neighbors so he can play his music as loud as he pleases. Joe, can you take a few seconds just to fill in the gaps and maybe give us a additional brief glimpse of your personal life?
Well, Billy, thank you so much for having me on the show here. It's for me, it's so important that we do what we love, and that is exactly what I've been doing for nearly coming up on 3 years soon. Um, living every day for me and for my family and for the things that I want to do when I want to do them. And it sounds like it's complete fantasy, but the reality is if you have your priorities set in straight, and you know what it is that you want, and you focus on that goal, and you make the right connections, and you make the right friends, and you do the right things, good things can and will happen. So for me, like having these books, having now 2 conferences that I'm hosting here in the greater Philadelphia area, it's so awesome. I mean, wasn't even in the opening, but I recently took a position at a nonprofit in Camden, New Jersey, which at least a handful of times, if not more, has been rated as one of the most dangerous cities in America. But I get to help kids get on a training for career and for education path as a web director. So like I help take interns in and give them the skills and the responsibilities that they can expect when they get into the professional world. So if they so choose, and if they don't, if they want to go into like the entrepreneurial world, I'm all about that too, and I can help them along the way, so they can have a better life for themselves, because a lot of them or have not had an easy life to this point. And the organization I work for, HopeWorks, is it's been doing it for 16 years, and it's constantly being rated one of the best nonprofits in both the local area and the country. So I'm super proud of the work that they do and that I get to do, and the difference that we get to make in the world.
Joe, could you share with us one of the biggest fears that you've had to face in your life?
So for me, it was leaving my family's business, right? Like that's such I grew up there. It's existed since in its well, at the time, in its current form, was since '81. So since before I was born. I was there for ultimately from the time I was 6, working in the warehouse and sweeping floors and stuff, all the way up till I was 27, 28. So So yeah, so it's a long, long time of my life, a big chunk of my life, and it had such an impact on my life getting to work there, getting to be a part of it, getting to make a real impact there while I was there, in many different ways. And then and it trained me in so many aspects of my life that I just so grateful. But at the end of the day, I knew that I wanted to do something else with my life. I wanted to make an impact in different ways, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So when I finally worked up the courage, which took almost 3 years, just to tell my dad, like, hey, I'm ready to move on. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know, don't have a degree. I've been to school twice now. Once when I got out of high school for a little bit, and then after I told my dad that I wanted to leave, I was like, oh, I should probably start going back to school and maybe like get a degree or something. I don't know. And very after a couple semesters there, was basically told by all of the teachers that I was taking, that they didn't understand why I was there, because they didn't really feel that I needed the degree to take me where I wanted to go. So, and all the while, I had started the Dreamers podcast, and I was nervous about that. And there was, yeah, the whole journey has been a lot of fear. But over that time, constantly every day, just checking myself and checking to make sure that I understand where my vision is and where I want to go and where my priorities are for the life that I want to live. And that's, you just constantly checking, because it's those check-ins that really got me through, like the sitting in at my house in an afternoon thinking like, man, I should be at my office at work doing work, and I can't wait till I go home. But really, I'm here, and I'm owning what it is that I want. And even though there wasn't any money coming in for a very long time, or what seemed like a long time at the time, now in hindsight it's like, ah, well, I made it work and I did it. Um and now here I am. I'm a six-figure podcaster. So because of my podcast, not from my podcast. Big difference. But fear, I didn't let that be a driving factor once I made that decision to leave.
So, what do you do specifically that will help you to face your fear?
Oh man. I love music. Music is like everything to me. I love all kinds of different music, but specifically, I'm a huge Kanye West fan. So for me, and hip hop specifically, it's very encouraging. It pumps up your self esteem. It pumps up your courage. It pumps up everything that you have going on inside of you. And for me, music really helped me get through, even before I left. Like, it helped get me through some of the toughest times I had while working at my family's business, and then even after that, getting through the fear of like failure, the fear of, man, I'm doing this thing every day, making this podcast, and I'm not making any money, but it's going to happen for me. It's going to work out. I know it's going to work out, and I know that I'm going to get there. I'm going to write these books, and I'm going to do all these things that I'm saying I'm going to do. Um, so yeah, music for me was definitely a pivotal role, and having the support of especially my wife, to be like, yeah, I get it. Like, this isn't like a normal thing that most people would do, but clearly you got it figured out. So let's roll with it.
Cool. And so you listen to music to sort of like stir up and energize your inner spirit or something? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It really it gets me revved up, and it just, I don't know, it focuses me in a way that not many things in the world can.
So surely you've come across quite a bit of resources in your journey that have helped you to face your fear in addition to music. Is there something that you could share with us that we might be able to implement into our own lives?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm not a big like follower of other people. Like some people are like, oh man, I listen to like Tony Robbins or something like that. Like I don't listen to any of that stuff. I don't really follow any of those people. The people I follow are like the people I know, like you, Billy. I don't follow uh these people that don't know me and don't really care whether or not I am following along. Um, for me, what I do is I listen to people. I listen to stories. I take in everything that I can learn from those experiences that other people have had and the lessons that they've learned. And to me, like that's so important, right? Like I don't always feel like, oh, I gotta experience this for myself, so much as I need to listen to the stories of the people who lived it already. And for me, that's really important. So, um, you know, not every story is going to be like your story, and you don't want it to be because that would be pretty boring. But there's the lessons generally are the same, right? If you listen to what they had to go through, what they had to learn, and you take those lessons and you can start to apply them to yourself and to the life that you're living and where you want to head. That's that's the resources that I really have called on throughout my entire life to get through the fear and get through the doubt and get through the times when somebody would tell me to my face that you should quit and go back to work for your dad.
Cool. Are you ready for the speed run?
Yeah, yeah.
What person, whether they're fiction or real, has made the most impact on your life?
There's so many people that have made an impact on my life for sure. To name just one would be almost criminal. Uh, I mean, one of the easiest ones would be my grandparents, for sure.
And if you could instantly change one thing in the world, what would that be?
Probably hunger.
What's your biggest weakness?
Probably that I'm too passionate.
What's your biggest strength?
Being able to read a situation.
And if you could have one book to read, what would that book be?
Oh man, I don't really read a whole lot of books, Billy. I would say that one of the books that I really liked growing up was The Masters of Doom. I don't read a whole lot of books, but The Masters of Doom is about the making of the game Doom and the the creators and the story of the business that they created around it called id Software.
Do you have a favorite sound?
Yeah, hockey. I like the hockey sounds. That's why I love playing hockey because of the sounds, the clacking of the sticks, the puck hitting the wall, everything about it.
And if someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is to go to superjoepardo.com. You can get everything there from the podcast, my blog, all my social media, everything.
And what parting advice would you like to leave us with today, Joe?
I would say that if you have made up your mind that you want to do something, and if you haven't, figure out what that is and start figuring out how you can make that part of what it is that your life is going to be like. But if you once you make that decision and figure out what it is that you want, you got to own the vision. You got to go, like, you have to own it through and through. Don't waver on it. Don't back down on it. Take input from other people because other people have experiences that you don't necessarily have. But you have to. It starts with owning your vision. Once you find your vision.
And I also want to mention that you've donated a couple books to give away to a listener today. So if you want to go on to the website at livingbeyondyourfears.com and register for the free contest, do that now. And I want to thank you so much, Joe, for joining us today and sharing and talking with us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me, Billy. I hope that it's been helpful to everybody listening. That out there, it's and there's so much more to the story. So if you're interested in checking out more of the story, please go and check out my site, and you can learn more about the story and the journey that I've taken to get to where I'm at this point in my life. And also, feel free to come out to DreamCon in May 20th. It's in the Philadelphia area. It's if you go to dreamcon.us, you'll get all the information. We'll be raising money for 2 charities, playing games. There's going to be speakers, past guests. It's going to be a really great time getting to hang out with a lot of really inspired people.
Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.